Hey, it's me, Puppet DM, and I'm here to tell you all about the sponsors we have here at the Wandering Society. We're sponsored here by VtM Press, makers of a bunch of 5th edition supplements, like the Book of Kobold or their series of new classes. And don't forget, Arcmada, the amazing sci-fi fantasy campaign setting for the world's greatest role-playing game. Be sure to check them out at store.magenpress.com. Up next, we have Roll20. It's the platform we use here at the Wandering Society to play all of our games. It's easy to use, intuitive, and it now comes with dark mode. Be sure to check them out at roll20.net. We're also sponsored by R. Talsorian Games. R. Talsorian Games make great RPGs, and they've been doing so since the early 90s. Check their books. They've got Cyberpunk Red, which Simon tells me has been played here extensively, Castle Falkenstein, which also has been played here, and The Witcher, which has also been. Okay, we get it! Check them out at your FLGS or online at rtalsoriangames.com. Have you ever wanted to wake up and smell the coffee? Well, now you can with this next sponsor, Found Familiar. Get yourself some damn good coffee at foundfamiliar.com and use the code on the screen to get 15% off. What do you mean I can't drink coffee? What the fuck is felt? And we couldn't end this segment without talking about our good friends at Die Hard Dice. That's right. As a Dice affiliate, we are proud to partner with Die Hard Dice to bring you only the best in shiny click-clacks. Click-clacks? What is... Ow. You can check their ever-growing collection over at dieharddice.com and use the link below to get 15% off. You're putting this all on me? I better get a cut. Good evening. New room. Temporary room. Nodism. The study, off to a great start. The study of Enoch and the land of Nod, the story of kindred origin and myth. Nodism had varying degrees of acceptance throughout history. Within the Sabbat, the path of Cain is not only studied, it is revered. Revered. None remain that have read the entire Book of Nod, if such a thing really existed. One thing that was known and confirmed, however, was that Montreal has always stood as a beacon of learning for Cainites of all stripes. More than that, the city had become a sort of mecca of Nodism, with vampires from all over the world making the pilgrimage to learn more about their origin, their ancestors, and their nature. Just too bad everything went up in flames. I'm Simon at Wandering DM, and I will be your storyteller for tonight. And now, shall we move on to our penultimate session of the season?
everyone, we are live. Hello, hello. Welcome to our 5th episode of Season 5 of Vampire the Masquerade Montreal by Night. I'm glad to be back, happy to be here after several weeks of COVID, renovations, inhaling sheetrock dust, having to shave because of said sheetrock dust. This is a temporary setup with complimentary kitty cam, which will probably happen later tonight. But yes, so hello everyone, welcome back players. Super happy to see you. Let's move on to introductions, and then let's go back to the sewers we were in. So we'll start with the person above me, and then we're gonna move across. Trooper, hi, hello.
Hello, I am Trooper SJP, and both of my in-ear monitors are working today, which is pretty exciting. Who knows what they're doing? I don't know. What also things I don't know are what's in the sewers. I also don't know what's in the box. There are many things that I don't know, but I do know that I'm playing a Dixon, an Osebo vampire with very little humanity, although, you know, a little bit more at the moment, who is hanging out in the sewers with his former coterie mates, trying to make sure they don't get killed. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. I don't know what anyone else is doing, but that is what I am doing.
Up next, Deirdre, hello.
Oh, hey everybody, I'm your friendly neighborhood Prax, and I get to play Flory Winters, our friendly Ravnos, and I'm wearing something tonight, you know? I could just sum up this answer.
Nice.
And I have no clue what's in the sewers, but I know something that's no longer in the sewers.
Werewolf. Last but not least, Pope. Hello.
Hello. Hey everybody, Pope here, Pope World Builder all over the internet. It's great to be back with the Montreal by Night crew playing Arthur Porter. Both of us use he, him pronouns. And I am very curious if we're going to get to what at the start of this season was the destination. What is left of the Sabbat of Montreal, at least their holdings. And who knows how many traps or what is left.
Indeed.
What's the box?
It's Cerveza Cristal. That's what's gonna happen.
What's in the box? Cerveza Cristal.
But with jokes aside, yes, last time, last session a few weeks ago, things happened. A deceased-looking werewolf attacked the party while they were traveling underground. After a bloody, very much bloody combat, where everyone ate their fill, it was discovered that the werewolf had some sort of brass plate basically bolted into its skull. You retrieved the brass circle, which, if I remember correctly, in English was written for emergency use only. Something like that. For emergencies, I think that was it. In case of emergency. Yeah.
In case.
In case of emergency, because you needed to break the skull open to get it. And that leaves us where we were. Most of what happened last time was that combat. Both Arthur and Flory are still looking for a way into the repository of lore under Montreal. So Stixon. We're gonna pick back up a couple minutes after that as we see the coterie just walk down one of the many tunnels. You haven't encountered any strange, like, cancerous rats. You've maybe seen one actual, like, rodent, but the farther down you go, the less life hangs about the tunnels. And for those of you with a sense of smell, the stench of rot becomes increasingly potent.
What kind of rot? Like the rot of like peat moss and like nature
No,
and
it's more
normal
like
natural
a rot
things?
of nah. It smells kind of like mixture, an old mixture of cauliflower and chocolate. Rotting human innards, for the most part. There's still like a smell of mildew and mold hanging about all over the place. But the stench of the sewers, the actual smell of refuse, that is no longer present where you are. As you might see in our Roll20 map. Those of you at home, I'll describe it. But the tunnels basically meander for a while. What we're talking about here are older, much older, aqueduct that were partly renovated, partly rebuilt, and parts of it actually condemned. Maybe around early 20th century, like about 100 years ago or so. It matches the construction in whatever objects you can find around in those tunnels, be it safety barriers or tools or what have you. It matches the same time period that you saw under the Brother of Charity for Arthur and Flory. So it seems that at last, after all those detours, you have basically re-entered those tunnels that you wanted to go down originally. Unless there's something
I would say that I am probably behind. I have no idea where they're going, so I'm walking behind them, just sort of following along, since I have no idea where they're going. I was on my way, just somewhere else.
Unless any one of you want to do something, I'm going to trek in silence for a little bit.
Yeah, Flory just has Sense Beast still up.
Since the unseen, I've got my passives up.
Aside from the three of you, there is nothing left. In fact, as you progress deeper in the tunnels, it seems that the shadows around you are darker. The darkness is just that little more oppressive. And by the time you reach a hole in a wall, which I'll describe in a second, but by that time, you're all used to Flory not making a sound when she walks. It's almost the case for all three of you now, where all sounds around have become muted. The hole seems to have been made from an explosion that propelled debris forward, basically in the direction that you're coming from. A lot of the brickwork has been chewed and clawed at by something big and powerful. Definitely something that treated bricks as nothing more than, I don't know, soft plastic, maybe, taffy. The hole itself leads into a chamber. A very disgusting chamber. From where there does not seem to be any exit. Sort of Cask of Montidello thing. It's definitely a lair. There are discarded bones, rotting carcasses of mostly rodents now, but hung upon the walls, kind of like banners, are crudely sewn brownish human, like tattered human skins. There's even, at the far end of the room, what appears to be a tent of sort, made out of similar material. Other than that, the room has two wide, rusted iron grates. No sound comes out of either of them. And the ceiling of this place is a lot higher than the tunnels themselves. And this room, aside from that one wall, that brick wall that got demolished, the other walls are all natural stone, not really worked. The entire area feels like it was hastily finished. And even here, the darkness is... Well, I mean... all three of you would have... So you remember the haunted house?
Yeah.
Or Flory's new house? You remember how the shadows seem to
Polly.
move oddly about?
Yeah.
Except...
Nope, I left. I noped out of there real fast.
Yeah.
Never got to see inside the house. That was the beginning of the end.
Mhm.
I have technically never been inside that house.
No, you've only been outside. That's the thing. I think even Arthur...
I'm the one that's been inside.
Arthur went inside. It's kind of the same thing, except in this case, it doesn't seem to trigger your flight or fight response, or in this case, flight or flight response, as much as it did in the house. But there is a definite thinness to the gauntlet here. has any one of you? Well, I know for Arthur, but for Flory, maybe less for Dixon. But have you ever had dealings with like the Giovanni before?
No.
I mean, there's a reason they don't like us in Venice.
So those like that weakness in the gauntlet is similarly something that you've probably felt or seen before, like especially in like Giovanni Holdings, because they tend to do that. It doesn't seem like there are any traces of necromancy here. None of the corpses, the cadavers in the room, are in any shape to be raised back up, unless maybe as some form of like homunculus. But they don't seem to be, you know, necromancy ready, basically. I would like to know, as you peer into the room, what's going on in your minds? What are the three of you doing?
Flashlight's going up. And I'm looking up at the ceiling because I'm going, Again, this ain't my first rodeo. That would be a great place to drop down on somebody. Or bestow something to drop down on somebody.
Like confetti. Confetti and presents.
Doing a scan around the perimeter. So you said this correct. I want to make sure I'm not misunderstanding based on like the image, right? You described this hole in the wall as going in and not coming out.
Well, it's so as you were walking towards it, it came out towards you. Like whatever was inside blew it out.
They thought, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Does it look like it's big enough for our former canine friend to have come out of?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I mean, even the marks on the brickwork, like where it was chewed up.
Going to, from a distance with the headlamp, kind of take a gander at any of the remains. You know, do they look like Nyla bones? Or the remains thereof? Has a big
Nyla
puppy been
bones?
chewing up? Yes, Nyla bones are the synthetic dog bones that they give dogs to chew on so that they don't...
No. Those are all actual bones that belong to something living at some point.
No, but I meant, does it look chewed up like a dog chewed it?
Oh, yes. Chewed up, probably spit it out or shat it out at some point. The one thing that seems to have had like some form of care put to it is like the tent and the banners, which, you know, have been basically sewn together with like sinew. They're not like treated. There doesn't seem to be any way of treating like leather in here. But it feels like there was a certain level of sentience behind those things. Whereas all of the other bones, be they rats or raccoons or, well, some that have been broken in so many places ever since that it's hard to know which animal they could have belonged to, if they belong to the same or multiple different animals. But yeah, the human remains seem to have been worked versus everything else that's just the work of an animal. With
Going
the
to
flash-
reveal
yeah.
something about my own past. You can actually tan surprisingly many animals just with the remnants of their brain. In fact, it seems to be the perfect proportion in most cases. So just like, was this actually like brain tanned, or is this just wet, rotting flesh that's been slightly treated?
I would say slightly treated.
Okay.
whoever did this probably knew how, like, basic knowledge of how to tan a hide. Maybe like curing them more than tanning, but like an amateur hunter that would probably know how to like strip a rabbit and maybe make sure that the skin doesn't like rot as they carry it, you know, somewhere else or whatever. But no more than that. They're not a skilled, well, in this case, leather worker, basically. Even the tent looks ramshackle enough.
All right.
Mm.
Is there
And,
anything up there?
there's a gaping hole.
Huh.
There is a worked gaping hole. Kind of like a sacrificial pit.
Huh.
That you
Delightful.
find yourselves at the bottom of.
Florie's gonna turn and look at Artie and say, if there's a giant slug up there, we're leaving.
Oh, yeah, I doubt there's a slug. There's worse things, but slug, no.
No.
I just
No.
realized-
There's no chains. There's no chainmail bikinis involved. Not happening.
I
No,
should have kept
we're-
the werewolf here and make it a rancor, but
I don't need to have a
Dixon
fight in
clearly
the
has
Rancor
no idea
pit.
what film reference you're making, or that even that is a film reference. Just looks confused. Like, I don't even like. You can see that Dixon's like trying to feel like chainmail bikini. What is that even about? Like, what? It just clearly has no idea what that.
You missed the best part of the 70s. But
I thought the best part was the LSD.
that was the late 60s.
Oh, yeah, right.
70s, it was the cinema. Everything else sucked.
Are we? I thought we were going down.
We're down enough to go up. Because if this is a sacrificial pit, I am guessing that, you know, up there is where they kick people down here. And up there would be where that whoever made the science project that we dealt with would be, is up there.
I forgot to mention, speaking of science project, the brass disc has heated up.
Oh,
It now feels warm to the touch. Not burning or anything, but it's clearly, it went up in temperature.
huh. Well, aren't you fancy? We're getting close to something aboard. The disc is heating up.
Warmer is
find-
better than colder.
Well, nice to realize that I might be able to pawn this off as a nice, like, occult curio, the equivalent of a mystical hot plate, if you will.
How big is this tent, and what kind of tent is it?
So it's one of those tents that are, you have like one vertical, let's call them sticks for now, right? And that ends in a Y, and then you have like one longer branch like hung diagonally, and then you drape your thing over. So it's more of a survival
Lean-to.
tent. Yeah, a lean-to. Thank you.
Yep.
A lean-to more than an actual, like, you know, more modern camping tent type of thing with or like the army, you know, rectangular tents and all that.
Yeah, this ain't a pavilion. This is like
no. We're not
put-
glamping in the sewers.
I don't. Maybe we are glamping in the sewers. I'm not judging.
you
how
know,
big? How big of a being would be in this tent?
A human, not a werewolf, not the Krynos abomination you saw. However, you notice that the skins that were draped over the bones They are far larger than the frame of the tent can hold. Basically, the skins, let's call it the canvas for now, but the canvas could probably accommodate a bigger tent. A lean-to maybe twice the size, or an actual, tent with two vertical and then one horizontal.
So something like a pup tent, but now it's turned into a lean-to.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
I rip off a piece of the canvas and I hand it over to Artie. I said, "You're the medical person."
Guessing by anything around here, my first guess is human, but
There are still, since Dixon approached the tent to tear away a piece of it, you can distinctly see faces in there.
delightful.
How many? Just like one?
No, on the one side of the tent that you're looking at, there are three. I mean, the problem is because the skin wasn't treated well. Like, they're not like very well defined faces. It's just it looks like two holes and then like a smaller hole and then another hole, and it could make up a face if you squished it enough.
So it's like not good for the rain. Like it'll
no,
let things leak through.
it's leaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, this it's human. Like again, this is the work of somebody who did not get out of their teenage Zamish phase. This is somebody who hasn't grown past. The artistry is rough at best, and the ability to elicit terror is juvenile.
The inside of the tent, from what you can make out through like the holes, someone attempted to make a mattress out of fine bones. It's
I'm gonna search the tent.
Sure. How thorough, like, I don't know how long you want to spend in this room, but given, an hour for sure, you can have thoroughly emptied out the tent and looked at everything that is there. Otherwise, if you want to spend less time, because, at some point the sun's going to rise,
yeah,
that would
I'm just going through the tent while they're doing smart people stuff. Like, they're doing smart people stuff, so I'm doing like the side tent situation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like in the background, I'm like taking things out.
Mm-hmm. So I'll focus on Flory and
you can just
Arthur
imagine
for a second.
them like together being thoughtful, and in the background you can see a Dixon going through stuff.
That would be wits and awareness. So I'll get back to you. But Flory and Arthur, what
getting back into one of the duffels, pulling out a grappling hook and rope, and looking. We're not gonna be quiet anymore. It's just throw up, try and find something to grab purchase, because up is where I think we need to go.
Before you throw it, Dixon with his massive critical, will just say, "Are you assuming that this goes to the guy with the coat of many faces?"
It might, or it might be a relation.
Because the guy with the coat of many faces hasn't been able to get in to the temple or whatever it is. So if this is an easy way to get from a normal place to the temple place and he hasn't been able to get in yet, then there's probably something stopping someone from doing that.
It could have been that his coterie mates that had the control word for the science project weren't still around. He may have heavily invested in very particular disciplines of the family as opposed to, the things that every Zami should learn first, which is dominate.
I just meant that there might be careful throwing the grappling hook is all.
If I manage to latch on to something that screams or hisses, we'll know.
Do I, since I still have Sense Beast up, do I sense, like, she's doing a full perimeter search of the room and everything. Do I actually sense anything above us?
No. For as far as you can see, or, yeah, because it works with, like...
It's not line of sight, it's just area.
Let me grab the PDF. How big's the area again?
It's like 30 feet or something.
Yeah, 30 feet you would feel
yeah,
quite some distance. But there is nothing.
It's 30 feet is 3 stories, so.
Yeah, no, you're the three of you are alone.
Okay.
Completely alone. As you throw the grappling hook up, Dixon started combing through the tent, but became a little too eager in searching. And basically, your main secret is you have scattered everything all over the place. To the point where some of the bones, like, you have thrown them as far back as the grates and you hear them fall down. Doesn't seem to be very deep, but it just you have torn through the tent. You think there was some form of, like, preserved newspaper, but you tore it apart in your search. You were not careful. You can still mark the stain for that. Because messy crit, but since it's just an awareness test, like, it's not gonna turn into anything bigger than that. The grappling hook, however, hits the ceiling and falls back down.
Try again.
Falls back down. That ceiling at the top of the hole is probably about 20 feet up. Just high enough that if you fall, you're probably gonna break your legs if you don't die.
We're already dead, though.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do this. I'm not happy about it, but I'm gonna. I'm going to use this.
Wait, Artie, you want to go up there?
Yeah, I can. Just give me a sec.
Wait. I just go lean up against the wall and I make the sort of the little cradle with my hands.
Oh, the hole is basically in the center of the room. Like, ceiling center of the room.
I sort of grab myself and I make a, just step on me.
Going, okay.
I think I have an emote for that. There we go.
You do.
I give him. I'm ready to give him a boost.
You have your passive.
So it doesn't have to do anything
like a feat
weird.
Of strength, or yeah, you can basically lift him up. And not
time to remember doing cheerleading, ladies and
yeah,
gents.
it's gonna be some cheerleading is what it's. Was Artie a yell leader in Vodio Do times? I'm just asking.
Um, not really, but he did appreciate the performances.
We've just learned one of his deep dark secrets. He was a yell leader back in the teens, and there's like an old faded picture of Artie in one of those big leather sweaters with a big megaphone cheering on the team.
With that boost, how tall are you, Dixon?
Dixon is tall and lanky, so Dixon is like 6. I wrote it down somewhere, but he's tall and lanky.
Okay.
So he's
so
probably like
clearly you can probably reach like up to 10 feet with your arms outstretched.
Yeah.
And
without Zemish stuff. I don't need like vampiric warping of my body to do that. Yeah.
You don't want to Beetlejuice it? Okay.
No.
Arthur.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you're up on Dixon,
Yeah.
you have your flashlight. It's rubble.
All of it?
Something massive fell over the hole and covered pretty much all of it. There's a sliver, like a I don't know, it's maybe that wide at the widest, and maybe, you know, 1.5 feet long, that you could probably poke your hand through. But it would have been almost a miracle to get the grappling hook there from the bottom.
Oh, great. There's another cave in.
And remind me, because I thought Flory had the disc, but is it Arthur that has it? Or is it Flory?
Flory took it and gave it to Artie.
Yeah.
Because Flory read it and then was handed it to Artie to see if there were any other
Okay. Then
weird
in that
mojo
case,
on it.
Once you're up on Dixon,
Mm-hmm.
the disc grows cooler.
Huh. Up is not where we need to go. Damn it. I guess we need to go down.
Oh, there are grates.
Well, I guess it's worth a shot. Let's look before we leap.
Good idea. Because both of them are covered in rusted spikes.
At the bottom?
At the
Beneath?
bottom.
Okay.
Except one of them has definitely fewer spikes than the other one. If you were to look at the one on Roll20, it's basically let's call it the safer option, is the one in the top right.
Okay.
You have a grappling hook with you, right?
Yep.
Can I borrow that? Like
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Yeah, perfectly fine.
Is it okay? So the grate and then the spikes are underneath the grate, a distance, correct?
They're like 6-7 feet down.
Okay, so not that far. So can I remove the grate?
It is possible to move them. They are
No.
heavy as shit.
The grate, just the grate, not the.
Yeah, just the grate.
Yeah.
but
I just want to pull
heavy.
it up and slide it over, like just off the side. You know,
Yeah,
not
like a sewer lid.
Yeah. I'm not picking it up and carrying it away. I'm just sliding it away. Can I drop the grappling hook and start spinning it?
It's gonna hit on all the spikes. What is Flory's intent with that?
Number 1, to determine the material of the spikes, and number 2, to see how many of them I can damage just by doing a helicopter with a grappling hook.
So definitely metal. It sounds actually, yeah. A thick metal, probably lead, like filed up lead pipes.
Mhm.
It's just the middle basically got filled up with whatever gunk of whatever fell into it over time. As far as breaking them go, I'd say with the grappling hook, difficulty 3. Like, let's do dex and melee.
Mhm.
If you succeed, you clear it out so that there might be like one left that's like out of the way near like one of the sides, but it's safe for y'all to jump down without risking on life or limb. None of them are made of wood, by the way.
How about 4?
Yeah, it takes a couple minutes. You hear the but as you basically blend the grappling hook, use the grappling hook as a blender, you break some of them. Like they chip off, and eventually just crumble or snap in half.
Yeah.
It's safe to go down. Like, I'm not gonna ask a check if you wanna.
How old are these pipes? These are lead pipes, like
Yeah,
from,
if they're
like,
lead
which
pipes,
era?
they're old.
Oh, probably older than you are.
How far
Some
down?
of them, I will say this though, some of them are a little more recent. Probably they've been
Okay.
changed at
Updated?
some point or added. Yeah, updated. But definitely most of them, let's say like 90% of them, are over a century old.
How deep is this
It's 7 feet.
down?
Like you can like hang on the ledge and then just lower
Mhm.
yourself down, especially since the spikes are gone. You can just whoop, drop down without a
You
problem.
make it sound so easy, but I don't trust you.
But before Flory does so, she's going to take a look and see if there's an actual exit from the pit of spikes.
Yeah.
Well, you have a headlight.
Yes.
You can just, look around.
Yeah, that's what she's doing.
Bottom foot, there is a crack about the width and the thickness of a certain brass circle.
Ah. Artie, I need your key to open the door.
All right. Actually, no, I'm just going to, because I have this trait and I haven't used it yet. I have Way of the Feather. I can just leap off of things and not take damage. Just jump down.
It's cramped with the two of you there in the hole, but yeah, you see it. It's, this wide, but this thick.
There you go.
When you insert it, it clicks, but there's about like an inch of it that's still poking out. It gets progressively warmer until it almost sizzles your flesh.
I'll let go.
All the heat just dissipates.
Did anything open up?
As far as you can see.
Pulling myself back out of the hole.
I'm up top, just looking around because I'm not going to jump in the hole with the rest of them because, yeah.
Dixon go down the hole.
There's no room,
If you're looking at the entire room, the wall in back of where the tent is, when you inserted the circle, the disc in the hole, something must have shook because there's a lot of like dust falling from that wall.
Something happened up here.
All right. Well, boost Flory out of the hole and see if I can't retrieve the disc.
It is locked in place.
Never mind.
You notice as you like wiggle it, you can rotate it, but you can't pull it out.
All right. That's the case. Let's climb out. and see what shook loose.
Point to where it was.
Yeah, who has sensed the unseen? Just you? Okay.
Yep. It goes under a different name, but yes.
Yeah. And who has, I don't know if any one of you have obfuscate high level enough for that, but obfuscate level 4.
The Ravnos.
Okay. So you know, you might not have this power because you also need like auspex for it.
Yeah.
But you know there's a way with vampiric powers to conceal an object. It doesn't make it invisible, but it makes it so that everyone will... I mean, I'll explain it in like out of game term. It's the chameleon circuit from Doctor Who. Everyone just glances over, doesn't notice it, and that's kind of what this wall was. A section of it misshapen, but definitely door-like in shape. As moved by maybe a quarter of an inch. It's just a tiny bit deeper than the rest of the wall. It's hard, but you can push it.
Did you say it was hard, but we could push it?
Yes.
I see.
You can
Not the
push it
hole.
with- No.
Just curious.
But as you push the wall, you can hear the brass circle kind of like creak as it seems to move in whatever slot you've put it in earlier. The wall opens up. It's like it's a secret door, and it basically goes,
Opens to a secret tunnel.
Opens to a secret tunnel. Secret tunnel that's not very large, not very high, and after about like, I don't know, like 10 feet, not even, it's an old spiral staircase going up. And by ye old, I mean none of the steps are the same length, height, or level.
I didn't sign up to star in the less funny version of Young Frankenstein, but here we are.
Look, as long as nobody... We already got rid of the thing with the abnormal brain.
Having normal brain, not quite a candle, and now we're on the staircase.
Look, I'm not going to lie. If the very nice red-headed woman starts singing at me, I'm going to give her money. Because she deserves it.
Madeline Kahn did not get her flowers in time.
No.
Bringing up the rear.
Bringing up the here. Who goes first?
Let the Ravnos go first.
Treating the staircase as an entrance point, treating this whole thing as a breaking and entering, careful where I'm stepping, paying attention to all of the surrounds.
All right, give me 2 seconds. I thought I had the image up, and it is not up. So I just need to put it up on Roll20. Yeah. Nope, that's not the right one. Yeah. If anyone wants to vamp for me, now's the time.
I mean, I'm just saying that if perhaps one goes to the merch store, one can therefore, support the I'm tired of being fucking evil. Because Artie's, line is correct. We're tired of being fucking evil.
Also, at this point in time, it's just Artie, doing his best to stifle just trying to quote all of the damn movie.
Flory will just keep quoting the movie. Shh. There's no stifling on this. And she will
Dixon
start
does
doing
not realize you're quoting a movie.
roll in the hay.
Blue car.
Where's my... okay. I almost got it. I just got mixed up in my windows.
But yes,
Imagine this person was the guard.
there is even...
Tent person.
No, I think you just couldn't find the hole.
You have to just search around for it.
Yeah, but most men can't find it, and even then.
Suppose you needed this special key.
Hmm.
What?
Oh, not gonna, no.
And I mean, let's be honest. I'm pretty sure the giant puppy was the guard.
It
This tent isn't
was,
puppy-sized.
well, that was before it was turned into a perma puppy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You think that werewolf made this tent?
No.
No, I'm fairly certain the pack absconded with the not awakened lichen and kept it down here, did some research, figured out what they could futz with, and then made the puppy.
Oh, I am... You're fine.
What?
Roll 20, please. I want to see the message. File exceeds
Your
maximum allowed.
bat
Okay,
name,
I thought
please?
it asked me to switch to pro, and I was like, no. I already am.
So that's a sight.
But
For those of you
yes,
who do not see it, it is a sight to behold.
for the people at home, and for our players, Flory, as you climb up the spiral staircase, you eventually land in an abandoned construction site. The door that leads out of the staircase, similarly, a hidden door, though, you know, people find it quite easily on your side. It's the unfinished, boring site of maybe like an older subway tunnel that was never built.
They left a lot of the equipment here.
But it is, yeah, it's also deeper than what the subway would be. Like the actual subway in Montreal, it would be like a floor below, but like not a story below, but like, you know, high enough that it could be another set of tunnels underneath. It was left in complete disarray. And because Flory's the first one that comes out and you have the headlamp and you can just look around, would you mind making a... I'm gonna go with wits and wits and subterfuge.
Okay.
Reverse engineers.
3 successes.
3 successes. The room. This should be enough. the entire construction site is a setup. Like, even at a glance, you look around and things are left there so that if someone was to stumble upon it, it would probably look like they're not supposed to be down there one way or another. But so that it would look just mundane enough that maybe people wouldn't pay it, like would not think twice. There are multiple exits to this place, though. It seems like maybe at some point in time, even Kain could have stumbled upon that place. And adorning some of the walls are markings, kind of like the markings you found under the Brother of Charity.
Artie,
yeah, go ahead.
come read your weird, creepy family shit. Also, this is a bad setup. I don't like. The least they could do is actually block in this plug so it looks like when this actually is plugged in that it actually does something rather than just being plugged into a wall. There's not even any wires into this. I mean,
This is all set
that.
dressing.
And I hate bad set dressing. You could do better.
This was done on a budget. Oh.
A rather big budget. But yes.
Yeah. Still a budget. Decade.
Decade? What decade does this set look like it was made from?
I'm guessing the 80s, late 80s.
It's well, it's more modern. Like some of the technology there is definitely something like maybe between the 60s and the 80s. But it might just have been like updated, kept up to date to keep up the charade. Because you find that some of the in parts that we can't really see on that image on Roll20, but there's still like some of that old brickwork from before, connecting basically to the like underground aqueduct in some way.
What's the newest, the most recent construction materials, right?
Well, the giant drill, or whatever's left of that giant drill, is probably the most modern piece of tech.
So, but pre-Night of Ashes.
Oh yeah, we're talking. Everything is pre-Night of Ashes by decades.
Okay.
Everything is like, none of it is fake in the sense that none of it is like a cardboard cutout or like a dressing for a set in like a play or anything like that. The steel drums are steel drums. The tools that you find lying around, like none of them are power tools. There are no generators, but you find, you find hammers and wrenches and pliers. You find sledgehammers, crowbars left lying about. There are piles of trash, but like broken 2x4s and other construction material that is not really present now that you like pay really attention to the place.
If there's a sledgehammer, I'll take one. If there's a crowbar, I'll take one of those as well.
Oh yeah.
Are there like screws or nails?
Nails.
She's just gonna put a bunch in her pockets.
They vary in length from this big to like actual spikes or
Okay, she's gonna grab a bunch of the drywall nails and then a bunch of the spikes. Or like 3 of the spikes to go with, waste what? Waste not, want not. You're muted, Dixon. We cannot hear your dulcet tones.
Dixon knows that Artie especially knows all the Sabbat stuff, and that Flory knows how to break and enter. So he's gonna go and he's got his like crowbar and his sledgehammer, and while they're doing the getting through stuff things, he's gonna take some of those he's gonna take like if you can get a 4x4, that'd be best. He's gonna make he's gonna make stakes while they are figuring out how to get into places, because Artie's been making a big deal about how to get through doors. You've got to like, I don't know, murder vamp. He don't know really what it's all about. But while they're doing whatever thing they got to do, it's gonna make a stake.
Here's what we're gonna do. Give me Dex and craft. No difficulty. Basically, each success you have is a stake you craft.
Okay, and I get to use my bonus in carpentry, right? My specialty.
Well, yes.
Because I spent my specialty points in carpentry.
By now, by the way, we are reaching 3 a.m.
Yeah.
You know that you still have about 5 hours before the sun goes up. But even the beast inside you, like, you can feel it stir, all three of you, that it... Well, not stir, but, like, the opposite of. It yawns. So that is 5 stakes for Dixon.
I'm a good whittler. I've been doing this a long time. And I'm going to like sort of like work on making these stakes while they're doing the thing. And like Dixon watches them, but he lets them do their thing.
Well, time for some bot reading Rainbow. What do I see?
Tags, graffiti, some of it definitely just man-made, like kind-made. None that appear to claim this place as the domain of a pack. But there are definitely hidden, call them arrows.
Yeah.
Indicating around the room where a proper exit would be.
Okay, well, follow the arrows.
It is under the rail. You have to basically almost... You don't have to crawl, but you're gonna have to bend over.
Yeah.
But there's enough room under the
Rails
to go basically the way... What would have been the way out, right? From where the drill supposedly comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look up above the rail, like in between bars, like you'll notice that at some point that room ends. Things were brought here, and then probably the tunnel was collapsed. Maybe they were brought here by some other means. But yeah, because most of the drill is gone, like there's no real way of knowing which direct, like for a Kine at least, like for an urban explorer, to really know like exactly what was going on, because it's been years and years and years. But there are definite like laws in their design.
Yeah.
It's not masquerade breaching, but for the Sabbat, it's a very high level of keeping up appearances. Like they
care.
They went out. Yeah.
So let's find the next passage. Get down and get dirty and get moving.
Here, and I hand each one of them a stake.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Need it.
Do you want the spike? And she'll like hold out one of the 4 spikes she picked up.
You can see Dixon think about it. Like he's not like he's like you can see him thinking like, what could I use a spike for? Like it's like there's like a ponder's like, no, I don't think so. If I can think of a purpose, I'll show it.
All right.
But you can see that he was thinking it over. Like you could almost imagine him thinking like you could imagine like picturing him holding a spike, think what he could do with it, right? And then like being like, I don't think I need one, right? Like he went through the process of like visualizing using spikes for things.
I mean, thrown weapons.
He's gonna throw stakes. He follows them.
Are we doing the same order as before, with Flory opening up, being the vanguard, and then Dixon closing?
Sounds good.
Sounds all right.
And
Again,
eventually,
slow, careful progression. And if I see anything that looks like creepy Sabbat markings,
no, but eventually your sense beast picks up something. Strange malaise.
Oh.
It's not telling you there's danger. It's not telling you that there's another kindred or some form of supernatural creature. But your blood, the blood in you, feels like an echo of something, and you, the three of you, are traveling in that direction.
We have a friend coming up.
What? I look because she said friend, and he's like, look in my direction.
Yeah, in the sarcastic way. Can I tell how far away it is from us at the moment?
Well, because it's 30 feet, like, you
Yeah.
just came into
It's-
reach.
So it's just 30 feet out. Okay.
And
So
you can
alright.
see the like sort of tunnel that you're walking in
Mm-hmm.
will
Widen.
because of your light, like, it will open up in 30 feet.
Alright, the tunnel's going to open up in about 30 feet. Malaise. Not hunger, not anger, not want to kill you.
Plays like that feeling that everybody had over there in Dorchester Square.
Does it
The magical one.
feel like that?
Yes.
It kind of. Yes.
Yeah, could be a ward of some sort.
No, it also has a resonance with dinner.
Huh. Could be somebody staked.
Usually I don't, I mean, like, correct me if I'm wrong, GM. Usually Sense Beast requires at least, like, I have to,
There needs to be a beast, right?
there needs to be a beast, so it can't be anybody in Torpor.
Yes, it could.
It could be somebody in
Because
Torpor?
because the beast is inside them, even though it's
Oh,
not.
that's fair.
Even though it's not like hostile
Active,
or anything,
yeah.
there is one, right?
Okay.
And so they consider werewolves to also be supernatural beasts. So the way I have my way of seeing sense the beast is, you're not gonna sense ghosts or specters or like that
Yeah.
part of the spectrum. Vampire, ghouls, werewolves, and potentially other things that are physical but have some sort of connection to vampire blood in a way.
Yeah.
Or
Mortals. I can't sense mortals.
Bestial.
yeah, bestial thing. Definitely not like normal kind. Unless it's you focus on a mortal and they're angry at you, like, you're gonna
Yeah.
sense the hostility, but like as a general rule, otherwise it would ping all the time because there are people all over the place. But
Yeah.
yeah, the feeling that washes over you is very similar to the one that you felt in Dorchester Square.
Very similar to Dorchester Square.
Could be a ward, could be somebody in torpor, could be a number of things.
Could be a bunch of people who are spying for, whoever.
I think it'd be tense Earth.
I'm going to prepare to attack something. Just readying in action.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have anything to attack just yet, but just so you know, readying an action to jump in front of those two or attack something, just in case. Just being chill, though, in the background.
The tunnel opens up to a crypt. An underground crypt. And Flory, by the time you reach that crypt, you realize you're more or less under Dorchester Square. And we're gonna take a break. But, y'all might have found it. We're gonna be back in a few minutes. I'm gonna go grab a drink. Y'all should do the same. Get some snacks, feed, look at my cat before I switch to break screen. See you in a few minutes, everyone. I was muted. We're back. So, you've
I
ended up
learned
in
that a
crypt.
nectarine is not a hybrid of a peach and something else. It is a variety of peach. That's what I learned in the break.
Very important.
Much like werewolves, the one that we saw was actually just like a variety of it was like a variety of werewolf, it looks like, just with like weird some weird cultivation going on
And no brain.
that I feel like Artie would know all about because, of his background in cultivating different species and making hybrids.
That said, welcome to the crypt.
Keeper.
It's
Crypt keeper.
I should rephrase. Welcome to the remains. Crypt. Signs of destruction, of demolition, are very much apparent. It looks like the whole place was blown up in parts. Where you come out of that tunnel is probably used to be an alcove at some point. Clearly you are much closer to the ceiling than you would be of the original floor. So thick is the rubble, destroyed brickwork and stonework of this place. There are a few bones that poke out here and there.
I'm looking for
some-
my friend. That's not the friend, maybe.
Oh, it permeates the place.
Again, if this is the crypt, then this could have been cultivated by one of the harbingers of skulls to have a thinness between the two dimensional spaces to cause the malaise.
It's all around, but I will say it feels a little stronger where the hole in the wall that leads out of the crypts.
Huh.
Do I see anything with Ancestors' Vigilance, i.e. Sense the Unseen?
There's destruction. Everyone can see that. There are no ghosts. And there's no one actively trying to hide. You're stepping onto a piece of Montreal history. But you've stepped into a place that, by all accounts, should be empty.
So how big is this room?
It would have been originally something like about like 60 feet by 60 feet.
Oh, okay.
It's large. We're talking a sizable crypt. You're not in a mausoleum, like a family mausoleum that would have like a couple of alcoves. We're talking like catacombs under Paris type of thing.
Does it actually look like the catacombs under Paris? Because I've been there.
Okay, so the catacombs under Paris, the thing is they were built at a time where they didn't really care about layout, urbanism.
No.
These crypts here, someone cared about the layout. So it's similar, but it's not meandering like the ones in Paris. It's quote unquote built on a grid. They're British crypts.
Oh.
But like I said, those were the original dimensions. Now add in the rubble, add in the walls that came down, pieces of the ceiling that came down. It blocks off a lot of areas. You are, in fact, you're not standing on the floor. There's a good, maybe like 2 to 3 feet of rubble between you and the original floor.
Crypts normally have crypty boxes. Crypt
You came out of one.
honeycombs. We came out of one. Are the crypty boxes empty? Like what
Those
you know,
that are
just-
left, yes. It really is just an empty, destroyed crypt.
Okay.
There are still a few like Sabbat tags on the walls, faded, burnt. In fact, any one of you rubs their fingers on anything, there's soot and ash and dust.
Aside from us, does because it's all soot and ash and dust, do we see anything like, footprints, marks in the soot and ash and dust, disturbances anywhere?
You are the first people here
Cool.
in a long time.
And you said that my sense the beast of malaise and just general not happiness is everywhere?
It permeates the structure, but it also the origin, like let's call it the origin, the point of origin of it seems to be beyond the crypt even. So when you were in the tunnel, you felt it from the out the tunnel. Now that you're in the crypt, you feel it out of the crypt. It seems to always precede you at
Is
the
it
edge of like that.
moving? Does it seem like it's moving?
No, it's always tugging at the edge of the area.
Awareness? Yeah.
But it's like in this case a fixed point, right? It's the exit of the crypt, the sort of arch that leads into somewhere else. Give me just a second. Sorry, someone's crying to get my attention. But it is not moving. It's very much immobile. Do you leave the room? Is there anything you want to do here? There's much to do.
So Dixon has not had the conversations about the mapping and the layout, so he doesn't know the relationship between the crypt and like all those other places. So he, but he's like, you can see he's like, oh, stories worth. Like he doesn't say it out loud, but you can just kind of see it because he'd been talking way back when with like. Everyone's like, all the stuff is there. And he's like, seems like everything's gonna be just destroyed. So he's like kind of just noticing the destruction and being like, yeah, that's what it seemed like. And but he's where are the exits? Like we came in. What kind of exits do we have?
There's only one, a tunnel that leads out. If there were any other, they have collapsed since. There's just the one, and I say a tunnel, but it's again mostly caved in, like a landslide happened. You're not going to stand up your full height as you traverse this place. As any one of you, well, okay, I just realized I was gonna say, any one of you worked in construction during your lives, your previous lives, or your
I feel like Artie knows construction, at least like cement shoes, things like that. That's what I feel like.
Looking at how things crumbled, it looks like a controlled explosion, like controlled demolition. It was made to choke up the entire place.
So something with that cord as opposed to a generalized thrown explosive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep holding the rear uh, behind them just so that nothing
Okay.
comes out from behind us.
Let's head forward.
Out of these crypts are, unfortunately, another labyrinthine mess of tunnels. Not done on purpose, mostly because things have collapsed. Other passages have opened because, like, a wall blew up. It's a bit of a mess trying to navigate this place. The more you navigate it, the more you find a little remains of what was there before. Like, at some point you see a sculpted forehead, like of a statue that was just broken. There's like the scalp, basically. Sconces, now twisted, bent, due to the heat of whatever explosion happened, but they're there. You find remains of electrical wires running along the corner of a ceiling and a wall. It leads to nothing anymore. You see bones. A few of them. Old. Completely bleached. Broken. No, not enough to form a full skeleton. No skulls. Eventually, you start seeing worked stone. Big slabs of dark gray rock with faint but distinct faces in it. The more you look at it, the more it seems that the faces are shifting. And Flory, one such stone, all of them do it, but the sort of presence you felt comes from these, let's call them haunted slabs.
Cool. So it's not further away, and they're just a bunch of stone slabs with faces in them. Are we talking like, effigies, or are we talking, comedy and tragedy? What kind of
We're talking
faces are we talking about here?
So, like if you have like a sheet of latex and you shove your face in it. Well, imagine the stone is latex, but stronger. So the face doesn't really pop out in 3D, but it does like press its nose against it. And it seems to moan in agony and fear.
Can I identify what that is?
Oh, you were Sabat. You know what that is.
Okay. Excellent.
You're on the right path. That's what it means.
Lori looks at this, looks at Artie, looks at Dixon, and then points at these and goes, and this is why the Sabbath is creepy. They're not dead. They're only mostly dead.
Yeah, with Sense the Unseen, well, with Ancestor's Vigilance.
Vigilance, yep.
And that's a ghost stuck in the stone.
So you say ghost, I would say spirit. That's a more
the spirit of a human.
Yeah. Yes, an ancestral spirit. Seems like someone captured someone's ancestor.
Again, depending on the discipline and plan, it was a sign of a degree of mastery. Also, some people just liked them.
I saw this movie. She kept taking her head off and putting the other ones on, and then there were the things with the wheel. No, it was creepy. They still scream when she take them off.
We're not doing Oz right now.
And that's a children's movie.
No, we're on the right path. We're
It's
getting
not
to
Kansas.
we're getting to the areas where the more important things are.
Yes, follow the yellow brick road of. And she just kind of gestures at the wall of.
Well,
Now,
I know that film. It was very famous. They did the whole thing with going into color, and Dixon sort of puts that sledgehammer over his shoulder, and continues on following the two.
okay, so we got
Flory,
Dorothy,
Flory,
the cowardly lion, and I don't know, Dixon. Are you the Tin Man, or are you the Scarecrow?
Tin Man, I guess.
possibly through.
It just points to the sledgehammer.
Fair enough.
So, Artie, you're the lion?
Yeah. Man, courage.
Oh.
And we're off to see the wizard.
Well, I mean, that's.
And I don't know that I really want to meet him because, the wizard's a grand dragon.
But I think in the movie he was bogus, counterfeit.
Actually, the wizard Strathcona, and yes, he's counterfeit.
But
Okay.
also still he's pretending to be a grand dragon.
Precisely. Yeah.
He had the face stat for it. But that said,
Just as you'd need pigtails, as he sort of follows behind the two.
it's another hour of trying to find your way through, backtracking when you end up on a dead end. I'll say more often than not, those moaning stones are mostly to your left. Eventually, the passage opens up to what was once a fairly grand room. Not a cathedral, more like a chapel, maybe, or some form of haven for someone with a lot of ego. Part of the ceiling fell. Most of the place is in shambles, but it seems to have been spared the brunt of the explosives. In a corner of the room, occupying, I would say, almost half of that room, is an empty pool. About 6 feet in depth. It makes a sort of snaking, like an S shape. It's not just a well-defined. It doesn't have any ladders, so any Sims going for a swim would have died. There are...
Those Sims should just get good. They need to learn. They should need to improve their body strength so they can just get out of a pool. Like, it's kind of on them.
Under the rubble seems to be pieces of a giant cauldron that Dixon would recognize. At least the motifs on it. And a lot of calcified cobwebs that cover the ceiling like sheets you would have put in a more sunny and perhaps inviting place than this. There's junk, let's call it junk, scattered everywhere. At some point, you find like corner of a jukebox, not a jukebox, but a boombox. Like piece of a speaker with like the plastic all mangled and twisted.
Exits?
There is one, seems to lead to another room, seemingly as big in size. The stones with the faces now form parts of a wall. They're not just rubble strewn about. It's like you were walking the periphery of something. And these faces, they whisper.
In what language, just out of curiosity?
They're not words, they're more like the moans and the
Vibes?
cries, but the level of a whisper, like
A court of sighs, if you will.
yeah.
Chapel of Whispers.
Mhm.
A foyer of flustering words. You know,
But they're not intelligible. They just, whatever like sound would have come out of their mouths as the moan is what emanates from the walls.
Now, based on the conversations I had with both our favorite flamboyant Tremere and the grumpiest of gangrel in the city, I got a little bit of a map. Can I use this place to kind of orientate myself?
Yeah. You are in a crypt dedicated to one of the many one of the many covens. Coven?
Okay.
Yeah, coven of Sabat, like older crypts. According to the map, and if you look at the Legend Keeper in Temple ? Basically you would be in the top part of the image where you have like tombs and crypts and all that. It is, of course, the scale is much. The image itself doesn't respect the actual scale of the place.
Yeah.
But yes, you are basically in, let's say, the church courtyard of the cathedral of the Temple of Eternal Whispers.
Okay.
You know that if you move about, like, there should be entrances. It's just, well, they've probably all been blown to bits.
right?
Yeah. Well, do our best.
So we're in some of this, like in looking at the Legend Keeper, we're in one of these sort of labyrinthine bits that says crypts on the north part of the map.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Just making sure we're all looking at the same one. The communal haven.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, under temple?
Okay.
Question mark? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then, okay. So theoretically, all right.
Just a quick question: did we come from the tunnel to the Church of the Forsaken direction, or service duct to Metro? To Metro. Okay.
Okay. So
we
we've gone
came
from,
in.
We're going east to west.
To west.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We need to head south.
Okay.
And imagine that, you know,
Yeah.
those communal havens, yes, they're on the north side, but they're also on the south side. Like, they're all around it.
Yeah.
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 Well, the key is to try and find the mausoleum, and then from there we have the two places to investigate.
What places?
Well, those would be the Lost Angel's Lair, as well as Cain's Chapel.
I'm not going in there.
You don't need to. why I'm here.
Don't mess with him. I'm all good with not pissing him off.
Don't even. Okay. I don't think Kane is living in Montreal.
No.
Oh, but the lost angel.
But Kane, look, last I heard, Kane is dicking around driving a taxi. So
The rumors
Not even
about
sure
Kane
Kane
are
is real.
numerous and belligerent.
and she
Kane
just
was
kind of gestures to herself as like, oh no, we are well into the fact that Kane is real.
is or was. Again, there's a fuzziness about who amongst the first and second are still kicking it.
If I don't, the whole thing about the week of nightmares, but turning into a giant incendiary candle if I don't move around my sleeping quarters.
Again, but the Methuselahs are all real. Like that's a given. Oh, trust me on that. Like they're real. They're slumbering.
Not all of them.
Well, one could hope.
Okay. This way?
Yes.
Well, that's east, that's west, so that's south.
Well, again, with following the wall, I have a feeling the more that we follow this, the closer we get to the mausoleum.
As long as we
Right.
keep going south.
Crowbar, sledgehammer. Simon, I'm gonna be their sledgehammer. Just so you know.
Okay. The next wide room you happen upon of so far the crypts that you have traveled through is the most well kept room in the whole thing. It was spared most of the destruction. There is still I know I'm showing you an image on Roll20, but it is
All right.
in worse shape than that image. It's not lived in.
If there's
But-
any cool like knickknacks or bric-a-brac,
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get to it. The room itself seems to have been built to resemble a study.
Mm-hmm.
All of the furniture has warped, rotten, been destroyed. But there are a couple things that are interesting. There are still a handful of coffins stacked up against the wall. Kind of haphazardly, probably due to the blast that occurred, might have sent some flying. If they're empty anyway. There is another cauldron. Stone. It's been
empty.
like partly destroyed. Yeah, there's no blood in it. Like part of it, kind of like a broken glass, that's as a chunk came off. Same thing for that. There are statues. Or sorry, bas relief on the
Walls.
on the walls of a very I'd say it has religious connotation, but they're just kindred. They're Canaanites, clearly. One of them seems to be a very corpulent Nosferatu.
Mm-hmm.
What are they wearing clothes-wise?
Monk's robes.
Ooh.
No, not monk's robes. They would be a little fancier. For those of you who have watched Game of Thrones, kind of like the robes that Varys wears.
Okay, so
the spy master. So it's
a long tunic with stoles and other finery.
Yeah, but maybe a bit less stylized as very like clearly that person, or at least what they were when the sculpture was made, was a bit more modest. And on all of the walls, faded but still visible in parts, are these murals painted in the style of stained glasses from the Middle Ages. They depict events, maybe. There is one where you see several castles upon hills with swarms of bats in the sky. It's like probably a night sky. There's another one where like a mob with torches. The rest of the image is just faded. There's a knight that looks very handsome, but clearly has red eyes and probably fangs in the mouth. And he's chopping people into pieces. There's one where a person, I'm not quite sure what he is, but he's in the process of being, like, of transforming into a dragon. Kind of like, you know, they're split like vertically in the middle kind of thing. There's another one where it's a bunch of people stabbing with like spears, kind of like a hunting scene, but they're killing a werewolf. They're definitely killing a werewolf. You see the Krynos shape of that thing.
So, I have a question. These are stained glass representations?
Yeah. They're not glass itself, but yeah.
They're not glass. They're just painted to look like stained glass.
Yeah, exactly. So it's got like, they even faked
the lead
lines.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is gonna sound. Does it look or remind me of any specific European? Like, are these? Because it's very obvious these are not actual windows, but they look. But they look. Do they look like any ones that these are a copy of?
They have a distinct...
Is it the Sagrada family, you know, in Seville or whatever?
Or Paris, or, you know, with the Notre Dame, or is it, you know, or is it, you know,
is it German?
Venice?
Like,
is it German or is it Dutch? Well, they're not the Dutch so much, but
no, it's closer to Catholic
Eastern Orthodox
stained glasses made in Spain after the Inquisition.
So
a bit more modern than what it. Like,
so
the
Iberian,
ones.
yeah.
So Iberian after the unification, after the Inquisition. So we're talking 16th, 17th century.
Yeah, we're talking like
Sounds very 16th century.
Yeah,
like
sounds
let's call it neo-Gothic.
Yeah. Well, early for neo-Gothic, but yeah, more.
But in that same kind of vein, because the Spanish Inquisition lasted like on and off like centuries, but kind of like in that area, maybe late 16th century. Late 1500s, early 1600s.
So late
kind of
16th, early 17th century. Yeah.
Kind of like a revival. Cool. Because the art style itself, like, you can see that, you know, the original ye old stained glass, right? The artists had whatever technology they could, and, you know, the level of detail is you know, debatable. But in this one, like, there's way like a more modern touch to it.
Yeah.
But they try to respect
the original
as much as possible, because like the one with like the person transforming into a dragon feels almost more like it should have been on a like sewn on a banner or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, while this is going on, I'm taking out the GoPro, and we are going to get a good full view of this room.
and Florrie's gonna take a couple things that are not nailed down.
So not nailed down that are still pickable. There's junk. In the not junk section of the room, some of the stuff that has fallen, there are ledgers with, you know, a handful of pages left, like hanging by a thread, almost literally. There are several little figurines made of stone, reminiscent of like a chess set. Well, I mean, you can carry the coffins around if you want to carry the coffins.
Are they empty?
Do you open all of them?
Oh yeah, I mentioned that I was like
Yeah,
poking around to see
Ransacking
if
the
there's
place.
anything interesting.
he's
Um,
ransacking the place. I'm taking stuff. I'm taking
and, yeah,
small
and
things.
I'm more like
stuff.
learning.
Okay. Another thing that Flurry you would notice, the and you see it on the image on Roll20, but the alcoves to the right of the image were cleared of humans. Many of them have collapsed due to the explosions, but some of them still hold like little chests in them that you can grab.
I'm gonna take at least one, maybe two,
I'm going to collect the ledgers.
and whatever. I'm assuming that Dixon's taking some things.
Well, Dixon's opening
I'm
the
mostly
coffins.
coffins. Yeah, I want to see what's here. So I'm gonna open some coffins. If there's anything that Melvin might like, I'll pick it up. But and if there are any books, I want to look at them. Just want to see what's here. And also, if there are coffins, I want to see what's in them. Because who doesn't want to see what's in a coffin?
Well, two of the coffins are occupied.
With gold.
No, one of them is a withered, dried up, looks like a raisin almost. Canite. Is a vampire.
Staked?
Staked.
White or non-white?
Looking at it, it probably by now, yeah, it's if you unstake it, that thing is probably so hungry that the beast will take over for maybe years to come. Like if they haven't succumbed to the beast already in their torpor, it doesn't look like someone went into torpor like voluntarily, because there's a stake in their heart.
Yeah. But there's a difference between somebody who will wake up hungry and somebody who's a white, you know? People who wake up hungry wake up and they'll like drain you, but then they'll, you know.
At some
Hang
point they'll
out.
regain their composure, right? And just whereas in this case, this one looks more like, physically looks like a white, but even then very desiccated. That Canite is old, even by not generational old, but just it's been there for more than just the time since the Night of Ashes.
This is somebody that
you've all seen
pack
dead
put on
bodies.
ice.
Yeah, basically someone put them
Alright.
on ice a while back.
Do you know this one?
Doubtful, but I can take a look.
I looked to see if there's like a nameplate on the coffin.
And those coffins, by the way, they're not fancy
cheap?
coffins. Yeah, they're cheap.
They're-
Yeah,
This
go
is something that we put like, this is where we store the people we don't like.
ahead. Another one. Well, another coffin. You open.
So I'm looking.
Has someone inside.
Oh.
Their skin has dried, sort of pulled back. Not as much as the other one. This one is staked, but appears to have been laid out in like a comfortable resting position, with the hands over her chest. She's dressed in clothes, whereas the first one, I forgot to mention, the first one is naked.
Yeah.
This one is dressed in grungy clothes.
Do you mean like in terms of like the musical genre from the 90s?
Yeah,
like,
grungy from the 90s. Yeah, she's
Flannel.
from Seattle.
It's like, right, so she's from Seattle. Mhm.
But the most jarring detail on her is the fact that she has a third eye in the middle of her forehead.
Salubri.
Do I recognize her?
Yeah, you do.
Okay, this one. I pick her up, put her over my shoulder.
What, why?
Well, we have to save her.
You're picking up a random salubri in a Sabbat temple that has long been left alone.
This one is friends with my sire.
We'll lead
Also,
with that
she's
next
Danish.
time. Okay,
But
that's important.
maybe we want to save the other one too.
I would leave this one alone, considering how far gone they are. Like, I don't think a
What if they know
steakhouse can satiate this one.
What if they know something important?
It's going to be a long while before they're rehabilitated. Like, if you really want to, I'm not going to stop you. Your business is your own. So if this is something you wish to do, by all means. But in my
I just
opinion,
thought you might want that one.
no. That one is a danger. And not one I necessarily want to find out about, because that is the worst version of Pop Goes the Weasel.
I thought the worst version involved a live, grenade.
No. Pulling steak out of somebody that's that dried up, unless you've got all the right preparations, that's going to go poorly. And considering that they've been here a while, not necessarily the generation of the individual, but that beast is going to be howling.
I look at the desiccated one and I say, "Hey, I don't know you. But I may come back to help you out if I have time.
Oh, forgot to mention.
Just know.
I'm sorry, Sense Beast.
Yep.
They're both vampires. They're both interpret. I completely forgot to warn you when you were in the other room. But yes. Though the Salubri has a very weaker beast than the other one.
So this one, she points to this one as like, this one, to the desiccated corpse. A, probably hungrier, and B, a little more of the aggressive, powerful beast. This is less hungry and less powerful beast. Also, I don't know if there are any more down here, and I don't know that we can carry them all.
There's probably
But if that's one's important, and she kind of like points to the Salubri, but if that one is important to you, we will figure something out.
well, but again, there's probably more. If any of the crypts are intact, there's packs like to have people close by just in case, rituals necessary. They want to, if the individual on ice is of a particularly lower generation, to possibly induct someone into Amaranth. Like, there's a number of reasons that you keep somebody like this.
None of them are good.
Oh, no. But it all makes sense, including, like, I don't know a ton about Salubri, but I know at least the rumors is they have magic that allows them to have greater control over the beast.
feel really comfortable just leaving that vampire just there. We don't know
Well,
why he was staked, who
Well-
he was.
Give me a second. Are there any visible tattoos or brands on the desiccated one? No. No markings.
Scars.
Where?
Scar tissue. On the chest, there's like a hole here, or it healed, right? But there's
Yeah.
one here, like about yay big, like the size of a quarter. A little bigger than a quarter, sorry, the size of a Canadian toonie. Then on their stomach, from the right side to almost the navel, it's a jagged scar, kind of reminiscent of someone who would probably be hit by an axe or like a rusted blade, something of the kind. And their left hand, as you can see it because the skin is so taut around it, multiple fractures that healed over time, which makes it look like that person almost has like twice the amount of knuckles a normal person would.
Would this be something that would qualify as from the Chinese practice of the hand of stone?
I don't know what it
Okay.
is, so I can tell you.
It is a martial arts practice where you
Oh, the
bludgeon your hands to the point where when you smack somebody, it's like a Muay Thai practitioner, like building up bone deposits through repeated usage, so that when you actually do punch someone, it's like you have a weighted glove.
Yeah, no, not in this case.
Okay.
It's
Tortured?
The hand broken and reformed could be torture. Could be that it got crushed. And could be that, yeah, either torture or like accident, probably.
The axe doesn't feel like an accident, though, right? I mean, it kind of.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't accidentally get. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, and people accidentally get like. Could have been like one of those big pendulums that just accidentally cut them. I don't know. You know.
But it is reminiscent of torture that this person suffered while alive, not while vampire. Because the things had already healed by the time the embrace, otherwise the person would have been able to heal them. And no wound has been caused since it fell into torpor. And the stake has been driven. It doesn't poke out from the other side, but compared to the salubri, like this one was probably hammered in.
We've had some explosions happening. I think what I would like to ask is if people came through and exploded lots of things, the Inquisition, why is this not as exploded?
So, judging by the map that, of course, it's a map that Arthur has in his head, right?
Yeah.
But this would be the farthest room from the temple. So if, and it's a big if, the Inquisition went in during Operation First Light and they just lined up what was essentially the walls of the cathedral, the temple, to blow.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, the wall that you've been, the northern wall, seems to not have been damaged that much because you saw, the slabs form the wall still.
Yeah.
And you're in that corner, so they might have come in maybe from the south, lined up everything, blew up everything, which is why, things seems to have fallen on this side.
Yeah.
Maybe some of them were paid off by Cainites to not lay down explosives somewhere. Maybe some were killed before they managed to put down their explosive charges. Like, there's a lot of maybes. But assuming that their goal was destroying the temple, then this room being the farthest and the coffins being in the farthest corner of that room as well, yeah, it kind of makes sense that. And even then, they were thrown. Like I said, the coffins were thrown by the blow, tossed, or
Yeah.
So,
are the rest of them empty?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the other ones
So
are empty.
it looks like just chance, right? That these ones happen to not have been. It doesn't look like, it looks like you could have like gone through some stuff and seen like, oh, these seem mostly empty, and then kind of just left. Like they didn't seem like, it didn't look like this was like a big
like out of
hive
the
of
6 coffins, only 2 were occupied. And even then, maybe no one opened them at all.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you're a human, if you put yourself in the mind of a human, they probably think, well, that's where they sleep at night, but they're not sleeping. They're all like at the mass. So
Yeah.
cares.
Yeah. Does this room look like it's been ransacked before?
No, but I will pause there to go to Flory, who is ransacking the room while all of this is happening. So now it looks like it's been ransacked. But Flory,
But
you
done well.
find... Yeah.
And professionally.
The boxes, the chests that you found, some of them by themselves would be valuables as antiques. They are... Those that survive are made of metal. With like a nice little sort of like relief carved on it. Might have been painted at some point and the paint just burned away or faded away. But it's something that could be worth. It's not a work of art, but it's something that definitely has like some monetary worth. Maybe like a couple $100 for sure. What's inside though? Some contain watches, but not fancy watches, just like a collection of watches.
Does this look like somebody's trophies?
Yeah. It looks like they all come from the maybe 80s or 90s. There are other boxes with stacked full of notes scribbled on parchment paper, protected by a sort of thick, way down, I should say, by like a thick piece of wood that was inside to sort of keep it all pressed. The notes are in French and English.
Okay.
And some of them are downright in Franglish. If you look very quickly through them, they seem to be what do you call that? Minutes from gatherings. Is that meeting minutes? Yeah. So
meeting
minutes from a gathering, from various gatherings, masses, religious ceremonies that took place in the temple, and of course the last one is like a few weeks before the Night of Ashes. And it goes as far back as like early 2000. So there might have been more, but they're not there.
Yeah.
There is a jewelry box that survived. Small little thing, tucked inside a bigger box that had other knickknacks inside. But this one has a gold ring. That's so the ring itself is like a band of gold with the top and the bottom look like they've been rolled over towards the outside, and the middle of the ring has a line carved in that resembles it's just like waves, but they're not perfect. Like sometimes are bigger, sometimes smaller. It looks like the ring could be popped in half, but it's not the case. It's just how it looks, and a lot heavier than it has any right to be.
She's gonna take the box of notes and the box with the jewelry in it.
Okay. And the last one that has something of value, I'm gonna call them ritual components, because I'm not gonna go through all of them, but they would be of interest to like someone who practices blood sorcery or Koldunic sorcery, or maybe necromancy. I think there's a couple things in there. There's just like a bird skull among all of them.
She looks at the two of them, looking at the dead bodies. She looks at this. She looks at them. She looks at this. She goes, "I want him to like me." I don't want to piss off the Giovanni. It's like, I'll bring him a present. I don't care about the Tremere, but the Giovanni.
No, but yeah. So yeah, that's basically what you find. The rest of the boxes, what you managed to, like, some of them were broken when like the thing, like half of the alcove collapsed. Some of them, like you had to pry them out of the alcove, and it's so smashed that whatever was inside. There are some that contained glassware that also similarly broke. The one that is probably the most intact would be like an older shot glass that has like little diamond patterns around it. But it's cracked in half.
Yeah.
But yeah, the rest is pretty much garbage. Oh, no, there's one last thing. Forgot. There's one last thing. Because you went through everything. There's a tongue with a nail driven through it.
Okay, does it look
Like-
human or cattle?
No, it looks like a human tongue.
Okay.
It's green-brown in color. It's dry, but it has a sort of squeaky quality to it, like squishy quality still. And the nail is like one of those like 6-inch nail, like drywall nail, a bit bigger, driven into the middle of it.
Somebody was making a statement.
Oh,
Look, and she's not going to touch the thing with the tongue with the nail thing. That looks like somebody is making a statement about don't talk your mouth, keep your mouth shut kind of thing.
oh, that's something in particular that was on my fetch list.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm bringing a present for Fredo, by the way.
Oh, nice. I go back to my bag. I take out a pair of salad tongs and a Ziploc baggie. And you go in here.
What
You're
is
not
that?
sure if it's a trick of the mind. Just 2 seconds, Trooper. But Flory is Arthur picks the tongue from you.
Oh, she hasn't
You
touched it.
saw it twitch.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's still moving. It's still juicy.
Again, it's something that has been ritually prepared.
Mm-hmm.
That-
This is why I don't piss off the Giovanni. Or, I don't care about the Tremere. The Giovanni.
With my person, I'm like, well, I suppose we should get to wherever that is, the place.
Oh, one of the two places, yeah. Let's move further in.
I give a good 360 look that Muriel's trying to learn something about history, and then continue on.
Yeah.
You said there's one picture of a knight that looks like he's got the red eyes.
Yeah.
hands
up.
If you want,
Fabio Knight.
Flory.
It's a handsome knight. You said handsome, like
Yes.
Fabio.
Yes. Yeah, it's someone painted a cover of one of the Fabio novels. No, but
Yes.
if you want to, I guess you could do intelligence occult, Tori.
Mm-hmm.
Because as far as like the artwork and what it's worth, like yes, definitely, it's just a shame you can't really retrieve it from here. But the story behind it, like I guess that Flory probably would have picked up more about kindred history.
I mean, yeah,
And,
she
and
definitely
probably
tried to.
Arthur as well. Yeah. So
She-
the two of
I
you
know
Right.
kindred
want-
history. It's just not this kindred history. I know other
Yeah.
kindred history,
Okay.
not this one.
I'll
but it
take
would
a
be
crack at it.
intel occult if you
Okay.
want to
Does my specialty apply?
just for one of them.
Alright.
So don't count it, and at worst, if you fail by like a margin of 1, because we're gonna say it's difficulty 2. So if you
Alright.
roll like 1 success, I'll
2 successes.
successes. Oh yeah, because y'all aren't hungry anymore because you ate your fill.
Not me.
5
I-
successes.
Okay.
That actually makes a lot of sense, though.
So for the two of you, the gentleman transforming into a dragon, that's Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
That's a representation of a Simich called Dracula.
And
Um,
that would, just historically speaking, Flory would know a lot about that one.
Yeah.
Given.
Oh, Dixon was gonna guess Dracula because he saw the movie.
Oh,
because-
The old one or the
Yeah,
90?
the old one, obviously.
Okay.
Obviously.
I
Well,
mean, we
Bella
should-
was legendary.
Yeah, the Bella Lugosi one is the one that he saw. Yes. He hasn't seen a lot of movies, but he saw that one. Yep.
As far as the rest goes, it's a retelling of medieval kindred history up to the First Inquisition and the Convention of Thorns.
Ah.
Essentially, how things were before the creation of the Camarilla and the Sabbat. It's missing a couple, and like now that you are able to piece out like which events, you're like, okay, yeah, it's clearly missing like events. Was it the convention? Yeah, the Anarch Revolt. Like you don't have any painting of the Anarch Revolt, but it's probably on a wall that either like got a bit broken and then faded. And but yeah, it's interesting to say the least. It depicts also with all of your successes, I would say. Even Flory, because of where you were born and lived or unlived, it seems to focus on Eastern Europe.
Not surprising.
Do you move on to the next?
Yes, please.
Mhm.
Right. So what we're gonna do them by room. We'll do this one next room tonight, and then for the finale, I wanted to keep the temple for the finale, but I guess we'll have like another 1 or 2 rooms before you get to the temple for next week. But this one is half of it has been wrecked. In fact, if you look at the map on Legend Keeper, which I should also link it in chat, for those of you who want to go and see it. Oh, hello, Raiders! Right as I'm typing.
Hello, Raiders.
I know I missed another raid earlier from Hawkeye, but hello. You would now be kind of where Cain's Chapel is on the image.
Okay. So close.
Close. There is no path that leads from let's call it Cain's Chapel to
To the
temple
mausoleum.
itself. Like
Okay, so that's been collapsed.
It's been collapsed. There are ways you're gonna have to crawl out of Cain's Chapel, probably to go towards the southern side. It is not Cain's Chapel. It is religious, given the giant ass burnt out crucifix that adorns a wall. it's also very barren. For those who have studied history, kind of puritanical in its design. If you compare it, you know, to the frescoes and the reliefs
Yeah,
and all that
yeah.
of the room before, this one is very like Spartan in
Yeah.
what it is. And well, Christian iconography, of course, the cross. But it's also got alcoves carved. Only 2 of them still have their occupants. I'll describe them in a second. The other ones have been reduced to dust. The 2 alcoves that are left, one of their statues about like 3 feet high. One depicts Mary with fangs, and instead of being in the prayer position, she's holding a heart.
I have a very important question. Are we talking holding a regular heart or the sacred heart?
No, a regular heart. Yeah, not the cute one with the gold around and all that, but you can
No.
The flaming
understand
heart.
like where it came
The
from.
sacred heart is flaming and
Yeah,
has
the flaming.
thorns around it.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen it before with like gold. Like a star in back of it or whatever. But
Yeah,
no, in this case, she's holding a carved, not gonna say masterfully, but it is anatomically correct as a heart. And her mouth is open, hence you see the fangs on it. She looks like she's about to devour heart. And the one after is this statue of a woman in medieval armor with a sword. Like she's placed like a knight. Wearing what would be probably like plate with like a gorget. Again, mouth open, fangs.
Like a Joan of Arc?
Kind of, yeah. But a version that's less
A vampire?
cool, yeah. And she has carved, but not very deep, like a ring of triangles around her around her right eye. And under the gorget, if you look up and inside, you'll notice that the sculptor even carved out a choker with a cameo in the middle. She's missing a leg because of destruction. Her hairstyle is not medieval. It's modern. We're talking
feathered hair, big bangs?
Well, no bangs. But shoot. The closest I can think of is Misty from
Farrah
Cyberpunk.
Fawcett. Oh, I was gonna hoping you were gonna go for like a Farrah Fawcett. Prime 1970s.
Maybe a Farrah Fawcett. Let's see images of Farrah Fawcett. I wrote Fawcett, FAU.
No, you want the classic Farrah Fawcett.
Oh no.
Yes, you do.
You just want Charlie's Angels, Farrah Fawcett.
That's what you want. You want Charlie's Angels.
Oh.
But that's not the style.
No, it's after the 70s. It's definitely oh. Got it. Here's a picture of her.
Oh.
From I don't know when. It seems to be a I will copy the link. The image link. Like this. I'll put it in chat for people who wants to see it, and I'll put it in Zoom.
Thank you.
I do believe
we call that a bob, and that's a 1960s.
Yes.
Which is okay.
Modern, but not as modern as I thought.
Okay,
I didn't think that was a bob.
So a 60s bob with with, triangles around one eye, wearing a cameo, and full plate.
Like 20 minutes left.
Mhm.
Yes.
I am offended on multiple fashion levels.
I
Yeah,
have a
No, go ahead.
question.
Mhm.
Does this representation look familiar in any way, shape, or form? I mean, the Madonna statue is very obvious, even if it's vampire.
Yeah.
And this is obviously vampiric.
Yes.
So
Vampiric Joan of Arc. But it depicts someone.
Specific.
Yeah, it's like someone decided or like commissioned a statue of themselves.
Do I know this woman?
as-
Do I recognize
Do
her?
I know her?
I've been
Yeah.
looking into it, but I am not quite sure. Where's my page? Why is my page gone?
Because your page became a knight and they left your service.
No.
well,
Yeah, like-
then he obviously skipped a couple steps. Like he went from page and
To
straight to
squire.
knight. He didn't.
Yeah,
He didn't do
he
the
skipped
squire
squire.
bit.
Somebody else came in and just like wrecked the whole thing. It was like, we're gonna just take your page. That's why Simon doesn't know where it is.
Oh, Simon lost the joust. I see.
No, I did not. There we go. Actually, now that you see it, Lori would recognize it if someone from her family.
What?
Oh,
Family in the minor sense, or
Clan.
oh, the clan. Oh,
Yeah.
and she like tilts her head and like kind of like
The pattern of like triangle, the sort of it's a not gonna say tacky, but it's sort of a symbol that a lot of back then anti-tribu Ravnos would use as a sort of a basically all of the triangles are places that she shed blood at. The more you have, and eventually you have both, and it makes like a pattern around your eyes.
she's just gonna take her phone and like take a picture and go, oh.
You know her as Elisa Carini.
Okay.
I will put it in our Zoom chat. She is not in Legend Keeper because it's only her statue.
Mm-hmm.
Out of game, she died during Night of Ashes, so...
Oh, well, the options are she could have died during the Night of Ashes, she could have died during the Week of Nightmares,
Yeah. Take your pick.
Take your pick. The likelihood of them being alive is a lot lower.
Behind the statue, however, is a case. Kind of modern case. Big enough maybe to fit a trombone. Like long enough. Or, well, yeah, it's about trombone is, 4 feet long. So definitely big enough to fit a trombone inside.
Or a rifle.
Or a rifle, though it is a little large for a rifle case.
We have to Riker this.
What?
She's gonna
Star
move
Trek
it.
The
reference.
trombone, yes.
Yeah.
It's modern enough that it's locked with a combination lock. Part of it has been busted in, probably due to everything that happened.
Yeah.
It's probably
just
possible to
crowbar
open
it
it still.
I've got a crowbar.
Well, yeah, okay.
I've got a crowbar and a lot of potence. I feel like I can probably pop the lock off the case.
It's
Laura's just gonna
Pretty.
sit back and let him do this, because if it doesn't work, then she'll pick the lock. But you can do the easy part first. Exactly. It's like, crowbar and a lot of potence.
It's a very nice looking, if a bit rusty, Scottish broadsword. Now,
Okay, I have a very
I'm
important
talking
question. Is it a hand in
actual-
half? Is it a hand and a half?
It's the real Scottish broadsword, which means it's a basket-hilted sword. It's a one-handed weapon from
It is
the
a-
late 17th century.
It is a backsword. It is a basket-hilted backsword. Got it.
Yeah.
I just go
Not-
and then open the case and step back so that the person who knows art, so they can look at it. But he just is like, crowbar. That's what this is for. Steps back.
Before I touch the sharp, pointy object that I really, really like and want to keep, I'm going to make sure that it's not, got
First,
any weird Sabbat juju on it.
Choose.
You want me to inspect it for, ghosts, curses, random nonsense?
Yes,
you
always.
can.
All right, I will inspect it for ghosts and curses and random nonsense.
Give me
Cult.
well, yeah, I'll say occult. Intelligence and occult. The thing is you don't have like extra senses.
No, I
Even
don't
if
have
there's
extra
a-
senses. I just have knowledge.
Yeah, that's it. I can say to Dixon with sentiency that there's no ghost lying around the sword.
Spirits of one's ancestors,
Spirits of
Two
one's
successes.
weirdness.
It's not. You don't recall any Sabbat artifacts being linked to 18th century 18th century Scotland. Or late 17th century, I should say.
I will beg to differ. Members of the Duncern, which are one of the few members of the Giovanni who would join with the Sabbat,
Yes,
were Scottish.
yes, but they do not have. I looked it up. They don't have Scottish swords as artifacts.
Okay.
They have other stuff. Yes,
Our
there
favorite
were.
Scottish
bankers of-
cannibals.
Yeah. I am familiar with the bankers, but no, this one is a old, serviceable, would need a little love. But it's sword. Probably the possession of someone who smuggled it here.
My next question is looking at the basket and looking at the handle. I just have a little question, anything remotely looking like a white feather on it in any way, shape, or form?
No. Not even in the pattern of the basket. Doesn't appear to be it's very abstract. I have the photo in front of me. I'll put it in Legend Keeper.
You have the photo. It's not ominous.
I'll basically just put it under artifacts, but it's not an artifact. A backsword from the chapel. And here it is.
I'm just trying to see,
Yeah. It might be easier if you have a picture of the hilt and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I can use some work, but that can be repaired.
Yeah, that's not bad. Nothing that obviously screams Jacobite.
No.
Beyond, the general time period.
No, it's if I look at the one, like the picture that I found, 1788 heavy British cavalry sword, or British patterned heavy cavalry sword. It's just made.
So it's a saber, not
no.
a
It's
broadsword.
actually a backsword and not a saber. I don't know why. I don't know the difference. It's not curved.
It has to do with,
Yeah.
well, a backsword is a single-bladed weapon, but it's not fully curved the way a saber is. But it's
No,
also
but-
not a double-bladed.
Yeah, no, this is a
Broadsword.
backsword. It looks like it's single edge. It doesn't have pronounced point. It's primarily for slashing, though we can get it to have pronounced point, not too hard.
Yeah. We're going to take the sword with us.
They were also known as mortuary swords.
That was the precursor. There was a different design.
Yeah, so you're... Yeah, because that was English Civil War.
We can't hear you, Trooper.
Why does Joan of Arc have a 1960s hairdo?
Because she's a Ravnos.
Joan of Arc was a Ravnos?
No,
I don't think
actually.
so.
If she was, I think she was a Malkadian. But no, this woman is not actually Joan of Arc. She was a Ravnos. Well, she was family, but she decided not to act like it.
Anti-trib. Rare, but
Don't know what that means.
It means she rejected all of her family values and went out on her own. And to be a bitch, she joined the Sabbat.
they
So
tend to be
that-
crusaders.
Okay, so if that's an anti-tribute and not Joan of Arc, is that maybe not really Mary, but also somebody?
No, it's a style.
It's a stylized thing, though. Taking a look around. Like, this is a room of an interesting pack.
The by the way, the Virgin Mary, like Vampire Mary thing, her features are very bland, as opposed to the Joan of Arc.
Yeah.
Pronounced.
But
Yeah.
by bland I mean she looks like every other statue of the Virgin Mary that you see, especially up here.
So is this somebody's? Was this like somebody's home or like their
Uh,
office?
This
Their
was
church.
a gathering place for a pack within the greater community.
Like a
And
community center.
given
Wait.
so, given its proximity to Mausoleum and Chapel of Cain, they would have had a place of some importance.
I say it's plain, but again, I think it harkens back to the first interlude, Flory's first interlude with Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Her face is the face of Marie-Hélène,
Oh.
the protege of Valois' ex.
Oh, the one I
ex-protégé or whatever.
stuck a spike through her,
Yeah,
through
because
her
she's-
chest.
Like one of the features that she has is her face is plain, and I was like, yeah, no one would have picked up on her. But then
No, I
I'm
stabbed her
looking at my
really
notes
hard.
and I'm like, oh shit, yeah,
So-
no, you.
So
someone
Flory knows
actually
both of
encountered-
these.
Flory looks at Flory when Dixon says, is that someone important? She's been focused on like the anti-trib and the sword, and it's like, oh, that was the statue of Mary, and then she kind of turns and looks and goes, oh, that bitch, I staked her.
Yeah,
You stake Mary?
Well, the person that it was modeled after.
Oh.
She was a really, really, really. She was the one that the Valois was, mentoring and decided that she wanted to start the circulatory system with children. I stabbed her real hard.
Ah.
And she's gonna pull a Sharpie out of her bag and go over and draw a mustache on Mary-Hélène. And just full on yearbook desecrate this statue.
I see.
This means that there are no coffins in here, or are there?
No. Now this room,
Okay.
imagine again sort of a squarish room, but this one, so there would be an entrance from the north, an entrance from the south, and an entrance from the east. That would lead to the temple normally.
Yeah, and
So-
this place is austere. Is what
Yeah,
you
austere,
said.
very much. But imagine that the eastern half of that room is collapsed completely.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's just like that. It's almost like a passage now that leads to
Yeah.
the tunnels to the south.
Next.
Yeah.
Well, makes sense. Somebody who's associating themselves with Mary would be absolutely depraved.
She's very, very dead.
And there are
It's-
no face walls here. Face stones,
Nope,
face slabs.
not on this side. Nope.
I'd say let's move on. We've
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
with that, going to end our session for tonight. I think I only said it during break to the players, but basically, because we would have gone over a bit too much, and I can't go super over tonight. We have one more room, and then we have the temple for the finale.
It's gonna be chill though, right? Like it's gonna be cool.
Yes, it's quite chilly as a place. It's it's a basement, so it keeps the cool in the summer.
Oh, cool.
And the faces with the voices and stuff that I've been waiting 5 seasons for to show all of you.
Pizza?
Yes, decades old pizza.
Oh wait, that still sounds bad.
On that, we'll do outros. I need to BRB very quickly, so I will leave the mic up to Dixon, and I'll be back in like 2 seconds.
Hey, I'm Trooper SJP. Woo, pew 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 pew. I was playing Dixon, who does not know this history particularly well, but is like trying to pick up as much as he can as he's wandering about. And he did pick up some history and also a staked vampire, which is always a good thing. He now has 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. He now has 1, 2, 3, 4 staked vampires. He's going to collect them, and yeah, you may not know about all of them, but I've got 4. At the moment, I've got 4 staked vampires. I've picked up some here or there, and they're my pals when I help them out. And with my collection of vampires that I got to go and help out, I think we'll have like a garden. It'll be great. I would like to give my love to my fellow players. I want to give my love to Prax for the yearbook desecration, because that is so very Flory. I want to give my love to Artie. Artie has got this like doom, but that's because Artie knows what this place is. Do you know what I mean? Like, and there's this vibe of like, I know what this place is, and I feel it, right? I was like, yeah, you're a person who knows what this place is. And so I appreciate all of that. I appreciate Simon, but I'm not going to tell him why, because he's not here, so he doesn't get to know it. And you can find me today is Monday. You can find me next Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern over on my channel, Trooper SJP, for the second session of the Gamblers, our Traveler Pirates of Drynax campaign. They did some piracy, and now they're just going to leave. Well, I do have to ask them what they're going to do with the crew of the ship that they are planning on stripping for parts. They're going to kill them, or I don't know what they're going to do in the middle of space, and I'm sure it'll involve disagreements with our antagonists, which is really all I'm here for. And so that's me.
Thank you, Trooper. Up next, Flory.
Hey everybody, I have been your wonderful Ravnos for tonight. I'm at Dear Gentleman on Twitter, or Prexgora does me a for you. See me around here on Twitch, Prex the Bard over on Hive, Instagram, and Blue Sky. I had so much fun. Thank you again for this wonderful, wonderful story. I'm going to say first my love and then business at the end. So first of all, I love all of us just going with all of the innuendo tonight. All of the innuendo. All of it.
It was pretty hard not to, don't you think?
I mean, sometimes it's really hard to miss, and sometimes it's
Yeah.
You're going down a
Slipping
slippery
right off.
slope.
Exactly. And then I want to thank Trooper for the wonderful, oh my god, I know that reference. and Dixon being the Tin Man. I just want you all to know that Dixon is now officially the Tin Man. And I want to thank Pope for just already trying so hard to be like, we're going to be careful, we're going to be documenting, and Flory and Dixon are like, Flory's like, it's not nailed down, it's going with me. I'm going to take it all. And Dixon's like, oh wait, a dead body, I can resuscitate them. I'm like, you just got to carry around an extra dead body. I'm sure it's fine. It's great. But as for me, you can find me next on my channel on Saturday night for more book club chat. We haven't had book club for the last 2 weeks because I was sick and we had other things to do last Saturday. But this Saturday, we will have book club. I've been reading a lot of interesting things I want to share with all of you. I think you will all enjoy. And then we will not be having Mass Effect on St. Patrick's Day. We will be back on the 23rd, but we won't have Mass Effect on St. Patrick's Day. I might stream, maybe, depending on how things go, just because I have a strong political reason to do so. Let's phrase it that way. But you can follow me on, oh, wait, yes, by the way, you can also get your own I'm tired of being fucking evil t-shirts or mugs. And all of the sales are being split between all of the crew here because we're tired of being fucking evil. And that's me.
Thank you. I'm also tired of fucking evil.
Only have sex with good people.
Oh no, it's being fucking. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
And last but not least, Arthur.
Hey everybody, Pope here. Pope will build on the internets. First business, then pleasure. If you want to see more of this silly face, you get a number of opportunities. Coming up next will be Saturday over on Valdrian's channel. 3 p.m. Eastern for some more Mass Effect, our favorite game on the Citadel. We have left Novaria. We're headed to Tuchanka. There's been a lot of lore drops. A good deal of information needs to trade hands, and Crocs may or may not be involved. So definitely tune in for that. And then a week from Sunday, we'll be back over on Praxis channel for more Mass Effect: The Gathering Dark. They have also left Novaria. They aren't on their way to Tuchanka. They're over on Omega. And there's a meeting with Arya T'Loak in their future. So definitely be there for that. And then be back here on Monday for our finale for the season.
And is Carrie-Anne Moss going to be a special guest star? You heard it here, everybody. Carrie-Anne Moss is specially guesting on that episode, playing Arya.
God, I wish.
Same.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, tonight it's just great to be back with all these wonderful people. It's interesting to see these, at least the stuff that we're seeing with Dixon and these breadcrumbs. There is a lot in his future, a significant amount, and it is. I do not want him to die, especially carrying our Salubri friend. There is so much that needs to come of whatever Dixon's doing. So Dixon has to live.
Just gotta collect a few more. I gotta collect them all, the Pokemon. Just collect them all.
Snake vampires should not be considered Pokemon, but to each their own. And then I'm adoring just Flory and Artie with going back and forth with the film references, and then just Prax, you and I being absolute sword nerds, that is always something where I just brings a smile to my face. And thank you, Simon, for this incredible story. Where, like, yes, there has been peril, but just getting that entire like bas relief history,
Yeah.
and getting to see with these different rooms where these different Sabbat packs had their value, what they cared about, and having that aspect come to life. Not only is it enjoyable, but it also, at least to me, makes it feel like this gives credence and value. And yes, these are all horrible individuals, but even in the depths of their villainy, they still care about incredibly human things like art and history.
Yeah.
So even amongst the monsters, there is something human, which should terrify you all. And thank you all so much for being here. We're live, VOD, YouTube stores, nothing without an audience. You're much part of this as we are. Take care of yourselves and one another, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you very much. I would say some vampires might be more human than some humans. Thank you, players, for being here tonight. We've been on a break for various reasons, so I'm super glad that we are picking back up. I was a bit all over the place tonight. I apologize for this. I will be more on top of my stuff next week. But that said, thank you so much, everyone who came by. Thank you for hanging out in chat. Thank you for the subs. Thank you for the raids. I saw So Maddie's game. I saw the Greater Restoration crew and KY Hawkeye. Thank you so much for being here. Now, this Saturday, we should pick back Scion. We had people sick this weekend. That's why I didn't tweet about it, because we've been on break ever since, renovations occurred here. But like you saw, temporary room and temporary arrangements.
Cat.
Yes, cat that's been trying to eat my cables because I'm not paying attention. And before I leave, so all my love to all the players for being here, for showing up for what will now be 5 seasons total. Thank you so much, and thank you for making me rush through all of my notes trying to figure out if I skipped anything in those ruins, and I think I got everything. That said, speaking of getting everything, you have 3 more days if you want to back the definitive edition or the digital edition of Empire Chapters, which is essentially, the sequel to what we're doing. Or what if the players never existed and what would have happened to Montreal then? It is available on Kickstarter. It will be available in retail way later. But if you get the digital edition, all of the booklets are available for free on a phone app, which is right now a web app, but will be made into proper app also later. So check it out if you want, because you've got only 3 days to go. And we're almost, fingers crossed, at 400k Canadian. That said, before we go, let's just raid. I see here Lost Caravan is playing an Oops All Mobster game of Call of Cthulhu. So let's go raid them and share the love, and we'll be back next week for the finale. Bye bye, everyone. What's my button?